packed good. Hey guys, I'm Evan. Welcome to Country View Solar. So today we're going to be building a new battery, but instead of a 48 volt battery, we are going to be building a 12 volt battery. It's got a total of 4 3.2 volt cells, which in parallel will put this at 12.8 volts. And this is going to be a pretty large DIY battery. I believe it's like 628 amp hours. So if you think of the standard 100 amp hour 12 volt lithium batteries, this is like 6 of them all built in to one battery. So basically like 6 times the normal storage. This would be probably a great battery to be able to use on a small solar system or possibly in an RV or a camper that has a 12 volt system. As you can see, I just got all this stuff out of the box, so I'm just looking at it for the first time. You can see the display is not inside of here, so there's going to be a little bit of assembly to the battery box, and I'm sure all the parts that we need should be inside. So let's go ahead and open it up. So this is a DIY battery from Yizhong, and this is the 4th one I've built, and so far I've been satisfied with all of their DIY kits. And hopefully this one will end up being as good as the others. So down inside of here, we've got some of the parts. We also have the EV foam that goes between the batteries. And then we have some epoxy sheets. We'll go ahead and take the hold down out. And you can see that the battery management system is already plugged into the circuit board on here. So I'm just gonna leave it plugged in. I'm just gonna set it aside. And then you got this black tube that's in here. This is part of the fire suppression system, and it's already all installed. This just has to be laid out on top of the battery at the end. All right, we got our first little box here, and that appears to be the display inside of here. It is a smaller display than their other batteries, but this is a smaller battery. So in the second box, we've got our flexible bus bars. We've got extra wiring that came with the BMS, or the battery management system. And then we've got some bolts and some other wiring. A lot of times, a lot of this wiring is extra. Like all the wiring that you need is already hooked up in here. So we'll wait and see if we need this. So we'll take a quick look at the battery box. On each side, it does have flip out handles so that you can lift it. It's made to be able to stack these up. So if you put another one on top, this will lock the 2 batteries together, and you can stack like 4 of these up. And on the front, you've got these little battery covers that should flip open. Oh no, they slide off. That's what it is. Yeah, so they slide off, and there's your battery terminal there. Pinch both sides, slides off. There's your positive battery terminal. Our LCD screen is going to go in here. Does look like we have RS-485 communication and CAN bus communication as well. So if we go through the little window here where the display goes, you will see this little red thing. That is the fire extinguisher. So if it gets too hot, it will release the extinguishing agent. And then to the left-hand side, this is the JK BMS battery management system, and the negative lead of the battery travels through the BMS. And then on the right-hand side, we have the positive bus bar. And in the middle of it, we have a 300 amp fuse. So on the 48 volt batteries that I have built, they were triple protected. The battery management system would protect them from overload, plus they had a fuse, and then they had a breaker. Now on this 12 volt battery, it only has the fuse and the battery management system. I think honestly, I would have preferred it the other way. I would have rather had a breaker than a fuse, because that breaker is also, it's another form of disconnect. So it's another way to turn off the battery to know that it's definitely off. So I think I would have preferred having a breaker instead of a fuse. So far, that's my only critique. Well, I guess I do have a second critique. I can't find an instruction manual with this. I think it's pretty straightforward. I've done enough of them. I think I can just work my way through it and without any instructions. But I think it would be handy to be able to include some type of instructions for this. They may be available online where you can look them up and find them, but there's none included with the battery. So just looking at all of our parts, I'm pretty sure that these batteries, they are going to lay in here long ways like this, and we'll have 4 of them in a row here. And we just got to start off with a negative battery terminal here, and then we'll rotate our battery and then rotate it back and forth. And then this one should end with a positive terminal. So in the bottom, you can see we already have one epoxy sheet laying in here. They normally go between the battery and the metal case. And then I've got 4 more here. And of course, the long ones go on the sides, short ones go on the ends. Now I should just be able to start putting my batteries in here. I'm gonna end up dropping it. Oh, there we go. So it looks like I've got 5 of the foam sheets. So I think that means I'll have 1 on each side and then 1 in between each battery. Now these do have a sticky back where you can stick them to the side of the battery cell. And I've done that in the past, but I think I'm just gonna set it in there like that. And then it'll make it easier for reusing these batteries if I need to later. Some of these battery kits actually have different thickness of foam. So once you stick them on there, it may not fit in the next battery kit. So that's why I'm just gonna not use the sticky back side. I'm just gonna stick it in between there. Well, that last battery, that one was a tight fit. I did put the foam on it. I stuck it to the side and I could not get the other piece of foam along the edge. So I just used 4 pieces of foam in there and they are in there snug. So now I'm gonna put the hold down back inside of here, but I've got a piece of foam that's made to stick on the bottom of it. So let me put that on there first. All right, there we go. We got the foam on the bottom. Now I can just go ahead and bolt it back in. Now one thing I forgot to do was to check the voltage on each one of these cells. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. So you just wanna check and make sure all the cells are within like 10, 15 millivolts of each other. These were within 4 millivolts, so we're good to go. So this is all gonna connect in series. So we're gonna connect positive to negative with the bus bar. And positive to negative again, and positive to negative. I'm gonna torque down these bus bars to like 12 Newton meters. I just kind of did a Google search for this size bolt. So these red leads, they attach to the positive terminal, and there's a little screw hole already pre-threaded for you to attach that. And then these black wires, these are temperature sensors, and they go on the negative terminal. And just continue on and land all the reds on positive terminals. They can only really reach one terminal, so you can't really get it wrong. I mean, as long as you got it on a positive. Red on positive, black on negative. So I got all the red and black wires landed now, so I'm gonna take this like rubber tubing for the fire arrestor. I'm just going to coil it here on top of the battery. And then I'm going to take the last piece of epoxy sheet and bolt it back in. So I think about the only thing left to do is to put the display in the front. So if we do dig down in here, there is a wire that's disconnected down in here. There it is with the lead, and it will attach to the screen. So we'll go ahead and take that lead out the front, and then it just plugs in to the back of the screen here, like so. Since there's no power button on the front of this, I think this is the power button. So we'll push it. There we go, powered up. Okay, it goes this way. This is right side up. So on the back of this display, it's got like little clips. I don't know if you can see them. It's got little clips on top and bottom, so it should just snap in here. And there we go. It does not appear to be a touch screen. So I'll go ahead and just put this here beside me, but I got the JK BMS app open, and it sees 3 batteries, and one of them is this one. I'm gonna try the top one. We'll see. Yep, it's beeping. So whatever one it communicates with, the display beeps, and I know it's this one. And now I just need to go in here and change a few things, like the cell count. There's actually only 4 battery cells in here. The battery capacity, this is where you put the amp hours of these cells, 628. So on continued charge current, I'm going to change that to just 100 amps of charging. Just got to make sure to hit the OK button in here or it won't take the change. And then the discharge current, according to the Yizhong's website, this is a 200 amp BMS. So I'm going to change it from 300 to 200. Hit OK. Now I'm going to swipe to the right. And these are all your on-off settings. It's got active balancing. I'm just going to go ahead and just leave that on. The always on display, I'll probably turn it off. That way this display isn't lit up all the time. So I'm getting an error on here. It says the cell count of 4 that we programmed in is not matching. And when you look down here at the data, it's only reading voltage from 3 cells. So something's not quite right here. So I think I found my problem. There is another wire, red wire, tucked in here, and it's labeled battery 4, and this one was labeled battery positive. So I think this is positive and it's battery 4. I think both of these red wires are supposed to go on this same bus bar. Yep, so we're learning together here through my mistakes, but yeah, I think that's gonna fix it right there. 2 red wires on this last battery cell. So now when we communicate to the BMS, it is saying 12.99 volts, and that should be correct. So I think we got the battery all programmed, so we go ahead and put the cover back on, and then I just need to get it fully charged. All right, I've got the battery charged up to 100%, it's saying it's 14.5 volts. I've got it all wired up over to a 2000 watt inverter, 12 volt inverter from Renogy, and then I've got an amp meter on here, so we'll just do a little quick testing on this. Go ahead and turn the inverter on. We're gonna kick on a heat gun on max. Pulling 123.4 amps. And it says on the display, it says 126 or 130 amps, 129 amps. They don't quite match. This is 125. As I move my meter around, it's actually getting a little bit closer, 127 amps. Compared to like 131 amps. So yeah, they're reading a little bit different than each other. That was now saying 135 amps. This one's saying 132 amps. It's slowly gone up a little bit, but it's outputting just fine. Everything's running just fine. Now, of course, I'd have to have a couple 2000 watt inverters to be able to get this close to the 200 amps that it should be able to output, so I don't really have a way to test it fully. But everything seemed to charge up fine. It seems to be running fine. And if you're wanting to increase capacity of your battery bank, this is like having 2 of the 314 amp hour batteries, or just over having 6 of the 100 amp hour batteries. So depending on what you're running right now, this could be a huge increase. And I just looked up this complete DIY kit, the battery box and the batteries, and they have it listed on their website for $969, and that is shipping from a US warehouse. So if you have a 12 volt system, maybe like in a camper or an RV, maybe you got a cabin, it's got a small system like this with a 12 volt inverter, this battery could be a good way to add capacity, but it can also maybe add more amperage, possibly, depending on what your battery banks looks like. So this can output 200 amps, and you saw just to run this heat gun, which is like 1700 watts, pretty much the same as a microwave, it took 130 amps for this inverter to make the power needed to run it. So you can see if you're wanting to run a microwave or some other appliances, you are going to have some pretty decent output from your battery. Now this 2000 watt inverter, it really requires, for full output, it requires about 170 amps to be able to bring that in and convert it. So this battery would be perfect for a 2000 watt inverter If you had a 3,000 watt inverter, you could easily have 2 of these batteries. They're made to stack on each other, so you could build another one, stack it up here. It's got latches on the side. You can lock them together, and it'll almost be like one big battery. But then you'd have 400 amps of output, and then you'd definitely be able to do a 3,000 watt inverter. So if you have a 12 volt system and you're looking to expand the battery bank, you can check out the Yizhong DIY battery here. I'll leave a link down in the description below. And there are instructions online to help you assemble it, but I think if you watch this video, you'll probably be able to figure it out. But I think that's it for today's video, guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.